go for some 5-minute chess again. Try to play the Jobava London. This guy's not playing. Let's try another one. See if we can get Jobava London. I guess, okay, no, it's fine. We got the Jobava London with knight c3, bishop f4. And knight f6, we use Jobava's idea here to go attack pawn, knight a6, defending it, and we go e3. Now the common move here, a6 or c6, then we retreat. All theory. Take. Take. Knight a4. Aiming for the square. Bishop there. Go knight c5. White should have a comfortable edge here. This kind of position. Knight e4. But the thing is, we can take and then go forward. I think that this move is a mistake because it shatters the pawn structure. We need to be careful though. Knight e5, it could be f6, knight c4, queen b4, and we need to save that knight, but then drop the pawn. So knight d2 is a more, I'd say, cautious way of playing. Knight e5 here, we could also trade. Knight e5, but we need to be careful of queen b4 and queen takes b2. So to defend against all of that, we just go knight d2 right away. Because queen b4 would win a pawn. But with knight d2, we defend against it. c5, okay, that's a mistake, I think, because of knight e4. Then there's queen c6, knight takes e5, queen takes here. It gets complicated. Queen c6. Takes, takes. Maybe go rook f1. In any case, I'll trust my instincts. Seems that white is better in this position. Queen d5, queen c6, both playable. Jobava is incredibly tactical. You're going to have to be good at tactics if you want to play the Jobava. And then queen takes g2. And then okay, now we need to save this. So natural move, I think, is rook f1. Seems like it makes some sense. And then we go knight d3, I suppose. Save that. Okay. Perfect. Now Now an idea is just castle and attack. The castle this way, then try to attack. But I kind of didn't know that maybe there's this stopping me from castling. Here we take with the queen because we don't want to take this way because then this would make it hard for us to castle. Finally, we can castle and we get a tactical game where both sides are castled opposite. Okay, queen b6, obviously they want this. I'm going to go c3. I have an idea here. It's to play the move rook d2 to meet that idea. Then let's start attacking ourselves. Oh, I sense a mistake. Sense a mistake. After queen takes h7, I don't fear this because the rook defends it. Check. Okay, you have this check, but I think more straightforward is simply to take that. Now I have a big attack. You can think about rook h7 or queen g5. Queen there. And one thing we can do is just slide our queen, but then there's queen takes c3. Incredibly dangerous position. I don't know what to make of this. Did I make a mistake somewhere? b3 or b4? b4, possible. Very dangerous position. Queen here. Okay, probably it's our cue to get out of here and run. And I always have move queen g5. And I always have move rook to h7. a5. Okay. Rook h7. Let's go. Attacking the f7 pawn. Queen a4. Is it better to go here or there? Maybe here? Just so you don't get... Okay, there. Let's start attacking here. There's something wrong. I feel that we're close to winning. And that's checkmate. GG. King f8, rook h8. Gotta be precise with those moves. Oh, and f6 and then takes. Should be checkmate. Okay, that's the other way you could go. So, yeah, there's no other move, just f6. So he resigned. A good game. Fairly typical Jobava London game. Just opposite side, whoever's better at calculation type game. d4, d5, queen c3, e6, bishop f4, knight f6, this line, knight b5. Key Jobava idea to always go knight b5 wherever it makes sense, and the idea is you induce the black knight onto a square that's awkward. So the knight really doesn't belong on a6, so you induce it to a bad square. And then when you go c6, you just retreat your knight to a normal square, but now the knight is kind of bad. That's like the point of the opening. Now here's a very cool idea. Bishop takes a6. Like, usually you don't trade your bishop for the knight. But in this case, you're damaging black's pawn structure in a way that creates holes. And you'll see this plan. So once white trades bishop for the knight, black's pawn structure is ruined in such a way that white can now go knight a4, knight c5 quickly. And this is exactly what we did in the game. So bishop takes a6, b takes a6, bishop takes d6, queen takes, and knight a4. This is a very strong continuation that I personally have been studying recently. Bishop d7, knight c5, castles, knight f3, and white already has a really strong knight on c5 here. I think the most accurate would not be bishop d7 because that really allows a lot of stuff like knight c5, knight f3, but challenging c5 right away, that would have been a more testing approach. But instead, bishop d7 and this castle is a little bit inaccurate. So that allows me to get exactly what I want with this ruined pawn structure. Even though black has a bishop which can become strong, the pawn structure deficiency is sufficient to give white a huge advantage here. Significant advantage, maybe not winning, but it's quite good. And c5, I take, and we reach these complications. Now here, this is incredibly complicated, but I calculated that this position should be fairly good for white. It's hard to explain why, but my general plan is to castle queenside, and then because black took these pawns, to use the rooks to attack. After bishop e5, knight d3, it's incredibly complicated and dangerous for both sides, because if white can castle, then black's king becomes in mortal danger. But white's not castled yet, and if black can somehow stop white from castling, black will be able to equalize and fight back, and perhaps even win the game. So queen takes h2, really, this pawn on h2 is probably not worth taking because it opens up yet another line of attack on black's king. Queen takes h2, I go queen e2, and as I was saying in the game, the only way to stop white from castling is queen h5. That would have been a little bit more of a prophylactic move that black would have tried. And that would have caused me some problems because now it's like, okay, do I want to trade queens? If you trade queens, then white's good pawn structure compared to black's bad pawn structure becomes more apparent because it's an endgame, and also white can use these files to attack, and also white's centralized king is actually an asset in the endgame compared to black's king, which is all the way on the side of the board. So this is quite good for white. But my opponent chose to go bishop takes d3, and I felt this wasn't really a good choice. Sorry, something's wrong with the page, so let me refresh that. Bishop takes d3 really relieves the tension. I was happy to see this. And then bring the queen all the way back. It's not really super accurate, I think. Again, I think queen h5 would have at least tested me, because you can't castle if the queen is attacking the square in between. That's just the rules of chess. So queen h5 is once again an opportunity for black to try to stop me from castling, but queen b8 castles, and whites achieve their aims. After this point, it becomes a really classic attacking, opposite side attacking game, where both sides have open lines. They've castled on opposite sides of the board with open lines against each other, and it's just free-for-all attack. So black goes queen b6, but really I think queen b5 is very mature. Black's saying that, okay, you're probably going to win this attack because you have better placed pieces and more attack, so might as well just trade. And if I spend a move retreating my queen, then black can have a crucial move to attack, and that forces me to weaken my position Now black is eyeing my king, and it's really white who should be a little careful here. But instead of that, my opponent played queen b6, and without trading queens, maybe wanting to attack me without trading queens, betting on the idea that black would be winning the attack. But turns out white is better here because I have a nice pawn phalanx, and that can help protect me. So I play c3, and after here I play rook d2. This is my idea. It's kind of horizontal defense. It's super effective because you're defending, but also the rook can maybe rotate this way. And because the queen's in front, the queen is less valuable than a rook. So this queen is never threatening to actually take the pawns. It's incredibly annoying because it stops black's attack. Now surely white has a big advantage here. Game continued rook b7, rook h1, and critical blunder, rook f to b8, just hanging a pawn. And here I think the game is basically decided. Again, because black's queen is of higher value than the rook, black is never threatening to go queen takes b2. And that's a crucial tempo because black is still not threatening anything while white can crash through king side. So better was at least stopping my threat, and the game would have continued to be very complicated. Chances were both sides in the blitz game. Could have continued king b1, maybe triple, and maybe I can just give up on the attack and defend like this. Maybe something like just trying to push my pawns because I have a majority in the center, making a passed pawn and forcing black to regroup the forces to stop my passed pawns. Also very possible. Or I could go back to the attack at any time, remaining flexible. And I just think white is much better here because white has a healthy pawn structure, whereas black has pushed pawns in front of the king. There's a bunch of holes, and white has this nice horizontal defense, and white is just better here. So after the critical error, rook f8, I go queen takes, queen check, and then queen takes. This was what I think is the correct continuation, and I panicked a bit here and went b4, but actually d5, just going for d6 is incredibly nasty, because if you take, that opens up the king even more. Queen here, forking the king and pawn. This I didn't see. This would have been devastating, but so I should have played that. But I played a move b4, just trying to stop the rooks and also guard this pawn with the rook. And after queen a3, king d1, you want to be careful, don't go king b1, because that opens up possibilities of black's just sacrificing, and I don't believe you can really take, because black has just too many attackers, and white's king can't escape. King c4, rook b1, for example. So it's very dangerous. So I ran the other way. After a5, I go here, using one of the ideas I had mentioned during the game, to attack this f7 pawn by doubling. And then after queen a4, king e1, my king is safe. And after queen e8, I go d5, good enough. And I take, and the game is kind of over now because black's king is so weak. White has attackers on all sides of it. And even though I didn't play perfectly, I'm sure I missed some tactics, I got the basic idea, I got the job done. And after king takes e6, rook h6, the game would have concluded f6 and queen takes f6. The king can't run backwards because of this rook here. So this is a typical Jobava London game, and I think it was really exciting. This is why I play the Jobava London. And I think a few notes about this game. You have to be very good at tactics and calculation, and understand the importance of the initiative in order to be able to use the Jobava at a very high level. And with these games, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. And really don't feel bad if you lose, because these games are razor sharp, and the outcome of each game depends on each side playing accurate moves, every move. So, of course, there's going to be some games where you mess up. It's totally normal. But if you want to improve your tactics and really have a great blitz weapon, Jobava London will produce these kinds of credible games. And I hope you enjoyed this 5-minute blitz game. Thanks for watching, and good game to my opponent.